A lot of men feel like they have to say something safe to start a conversation with women. That means they lead with questions like, do you come here often? How's your weekend going? So are you guys celebrating anything? And on the surface, there's nothing wrong with these questions. They feel polite and socially acceptable. However, when a woman hears a question like this that she's heard 10,000 times before, her first thought is, it's just another guy trying to chat me up. It's not because you've done anything wrong, but there's nothing in what you've said that feels specific, personal, or exciting to her. So she becomes immediately a bit more closed off. You don't get the reaction you are hoping for. Your confidence drops and the whole thing. By the way, if starting conversations with women at this moment in time feels really uncertain, I've put together a free guide to help you do that. Just click on the link beneath this video. Approaching a woman in this period of time, wow, it can feel really hard to get the balance right. So it's understandable when you see an attractive woman why you might lean on something practical as an excuse to talk to her. For example, asking her how late something stays open, asking her if she comes here often, asking her for a recommendation. However, when you say, what do you think of this place? And you really mean to say, I've noticed you and I'm attracted to you, it can come across like you're masking your intent. It's also really hard to move from, so what do you think about this place, to let me get your phone number. It may feel easier to begin with, but it certainly makes your life harder later on in the conversation, and it's kind of disingenuous. Instead, I would say to take the friction early on and lead with what is honest, which is, hey, I noticed you and I wanted to come and say hi. Usually after a man starts a conversation with a woman, the first place he goes in that conversation is to ask a question about her. Do you come here often? Got any fun plans this weekend? What are you guys up to? This places all the focus on her, and she kind of feels like she's on a one-way train to you asking her out, and it feels a little awkward. She simply doesn't know you well enough yet to be excited and interested in talking to you. So here's the swap. Instead of going for that generic question that you don't really care about the answer to, I want you to share something about yourself that builds trust. I'm banning you from saying, do you come here often? And instead I want you to share, you know what, this is actually my first time in this place, or I'm surprised I haven't met you before. This is like my second home. Suddenly this swaps the focus of the conversation from interrogating her to bringing her into your world and sharing an experience with you. This is great. It takes the pressure off and builds trust. A lot of men ask questions because they feel they should. You'll know this is you if you feel like you quickly cycle through a bunch of topics when you're talking to a woman. You're like, have any fun weekend plans? Are you going traveling this year? Where was your last holiday? What are you guys up to? And it feels like that conversational ground is just shrinking around you. How this feels to her is pretty similar to how it feels to you. It feels like a disingenuous attempt to just get through the conversation to the point where you can ask her out. Instead, I'd encourage you to ask questions that you're genuinely interested in. A good way to figure out what these questions are is to think about what topics you love. For example, if you're big into winter sports, get that into the conversation. To make this work, it means that instead of trying to get through the conversation, you start to apply a mindset of, I'm going to be curious about her. I'm going to really try and figure out who this woman is. And you ask questions which help back that up. So what's the highlight of your week so far? Are you someone who's more like an extrovert or more like an introvert? You've shifted from those very small talk, superficial questions into something that feels more intentional and focused. She suddenly feels that you're not just cycling through topics, but that you're focused on figuring out if she is right for you, swapping from the guy who is pick me to do I actually like her, is a super powerful mindset that I work on a lot with my coaching clients. And if you get that mindset right, it will immediately mean you have better conversations with women. So if you feel like you're constantly running out of that conversational ground with women, or your conversations fall flat or get shut down really quickly, chances are it's not about you, and it's not because you don't look a certain way. Instead, I bet that you're beginning that conversation in a way that just feels generic, feels like you've got one goal in mind, and just seems like you're not being really authentic and genuine with her. Remember, Becoming fantastic at meeting and attracting women is not about masking or a performance. It's about finding socially intelligent ways of saying what is truthful and authentic to you. If you want to learn these skills in real life, myself and my coaching team hold real-world dating boot camps, and I also have a lot of great online programs for men who really want to learn about this area of their life and dramatically improve their relationships with women.